have a confession to make. I'm addicted to my phone. Actually, the internet. And I know I'm not the only one. Some of you may be wondering if you fit into this category. If you speak in TikTok trends or memes, welcome. If you're addicted to Candy Crush like my mom, welcome. And if you get most of your news from social media instead of traditional news sources, welcome. Now I want all of you to read the sign behind me. On the count of 3, I want us to say this together. Make sure you insert your name. 1, 2, 3. I'm Arabia, and I'm addicted to my phone and the internet. Now that we're all on the same page, let's get into that a little bit. Most things today are digital. With that comes a shift in the way that we engage with the world around us. We are connecting online more. We're using our phones more, and social media is taking over. For young people especially, our phones are our main mode of communication and engagement. Social media sits at the nexus of the two. Social media is building a digital archive of youth culture that starts with young people. It starts with young. That starts with young people. Oh my gosh. But let's get into voting. First, let's start with if we have unlimited access to information, why aren't young people voting? That's the question I always ask myself. Let's start with the myths of the youth vote. We've all heard it before. Young people don't care about voting. Young people don't impact elections. And some even say that young people aren't experienced enough to vote. Based off of my research and other studies, we've proven these myths to be untrue. Young people care about politics. They just engage differently. Young people don't feel represented by politics, and that is the main issue. They're doing the work, though. If we look at I Voted, they saw a gap where 66% of US millennials were more likely to attend a live music festival than to vote. So in 2020, they hosted the largest virtual concert where they featured 17 stages and 450 artists. According to MIT, I Voted has increased youth voter turnout by 7% since 2018, which is huge. Just like music, social media is a vehicle for voter mobilization. Let's take Gen Z for Change, for example. Started as a social media brand, now a national nonprofit, they built an organizer network that has mobilized 500 million youth voters across social media. But there's still a gap here. Young people aren't making it to the polls after being activated on social media. But they are showing up more than the last couple of generations. According to census data, in 2018, millennials and Gen Z voters turned out at 32%. This is higher than the last 3 generations did at that same age. So if young people are showing up more and they are engaging on Instagram and on social media, why aren't they voting in the potential mass numbers? It's because they're still facing many pain points. Social media activation is one thing, but when it comes to politics all over, they don't feel like campaigns are targeting them. They don't feel represented or connected by politicians today. They also struggle with finding credible news sources. They don't know what to trust. And since social media is their main form of engagement, that's where they turn first. But what if we had one single platform that merged the gap between social media activation and meeting and actually hitting the polls on election day? That's where my startup comes in. By 2028, Gen Z and millennials will make up majority of eligible voters in this country, so the potential is huge. They are policy-driven, and that trumps political parties for our generations. At Pogo, we're simplifying the voter experience for Gen Z and millennials. Our non-partisan mobile app makes election research quick, personalized, and transparent. We match voters to candidates who are on their ballot who most closely align. All you have to do is swipe right to save those candidates to your ballot, and you can track everything from when and where you need to vote. We're making election research quick and fun. We're gamifying this platform so that people will get addicted to using it and hopefully engage beyond just federal elections. At Pogo, our long-term vision is to actually target local elections first. We're working from the bottom up so that we can inform everyday voters and meet them where they are. Young people need this. Young people are fighting for this already all over social media and in person. I'm the one that's going to give it to them. At Pogo, we're making sure to stay nonpartisan to make sure that the information is accessible to everyday voters. Before I go, I want to wrap up and just tell you what you've learned today. 1, young voters care about politics, so get that out your head. They just engage differently. They're already doing the activation work through social media, through in-person, and now this platform will allow them, the everyday person, to join in the fight. And lastly, the potential that young voters have to make when it comes to elections is huge. We're going to be majority of the voter population very soon. So it's time that politics is tailored to us and actually meets us where we are. It's time that politics tailored their strategies, their dollars, and their messaging to young voters. Thank you so much.